Mesa Arizona Temple. The Mesa Arizona Temple, formerly the Arizona Temple, nicknamed the Lamanite Temple, is the seventh operating temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints LDS Church. Located in the city of Mesa, Arizona, it is the first of 6 LDS temples built or planned in the state. History. The LDS Temple in Mesa was one of the first to be constructed by the Church. Similar to the Cardston, Alberta Temple, the Church decided to hold a competition for the design of the temple, with the exception of only inviting 3 Salt Lake firms to participate. The winning design was proposed by Don Carlos Young Jr. and Ram Hansen. Announced in 1919, only 7 years after Arizona had achieved statehood, it was one of 3 temples announced and constructed. While none of the 3 settlements were particularly large in their own right, they were considered thriving centers of largely Latter-day Saint populations. The long and arduous trip to existing temples located in the state of Utah would prove costly and even dangerous for the faithful of the era, and temple attendance was and is an important part of the faith. As such, it was seen as necessary to construct temples in these communities. Numerous colonies had been set up in Arizona by the Church during the last half of the 19th century, and plans had been discussed for a temple in the area as early as 1908, but the start of World War I stopped these for a while. The plan to build a temple in Mesa, Arizona was finally announced on October 3, 1919, and a 20-acre 81,002 site was selected and bought in 1921. The site was dedicated shortly after on November 28, 1921, and on April 25, 1922, the groundbreaking ceremony took place. Heber J. Grant conducted the ceremony, following the earlier traditions set forth in the building of temples, such as the Salt Lake Temple. The new structure in Mesa was a centerpiece of an organized and planned community for the faithful that lived nearby. Upon its completion in 1927, it was the 3rd largest temple in use by the Church and the largest outside of Utah, and remains among the largest temples constructed to this day. In a departure from the style of temples constructed prior, the Mesa Temple, along with the temples in Leh and Cardston, was built in a neoclassical style suggestive of the temple in Jerusalem, lacking the spires that have become a mainstay of temples built since then, and prior to the announcement and impending construction of the Paris, France Temple. It was the last LDS temple constructed without a spire. The temple is a neoclassical design featuring the primary structure atop a pedestal, a frieze pilasters with Corinthian capitals, 12 pair along the long side and 10 pair along the short side, and amphorae on fluted columns on the grounds. Below the cornice, 8 frieze panels carved in low relief depict the gathering of God's people from the Old and New World and the Pacific Islands to America. When construction was finished on the temple, the public was able to take tours through the temple. 200,000 people were able to take a tour through the Mesa Temple. The temple was dedicated on October 23, 1927 by Heber J. Grant. By that afternoon, the temple was being put to use. In 1945, renovations. The Mesa Temple was closed in February 1974 for extensive remodeling that equipped the ordinance rooms for motion picture presentation of the endowment sessions, and that added a new entrance and an additional 17,000 square feet 1,600 m2, providing larger dressing rooms and increasing the number of sealing rooms. Spencer W. Kimball rededicated the temple on April 16, 1975. In May 2018, the temple closed for renovations and will be rededicated by Dallin H. Oaks on December 12, 2021. Prior to the temple rededication, a public temple open house will be held from October 16 to November 20, except for Sundays, with a youth devotional on December 11. Public exhibits and events. History of the Visitors Center. Just north of the temple is a visitors center. The original visitors center was located near the west entrance of the temple in the late 1940s, which consisted of tables and literature racks. Across the street, was the Bureau of Information and Genealogical Library. Due to inadequacies to meet demand, a new building was constructed and dedicated by David O. McKay on December 30, 1956. An expansion of the building was completed in 1981 to house new exhibits and was again remodeled in 2015. New Visitors Center New Visitors Center. As part of a larger plan to renovate the temple, the original Visitors Center was demolished in 2018. A new 18,000 square foot Visitors Center and interactive Family History Discovery Center were built. The new Visitors Center includes a children's play area with interactive activities, a hangout room for teens, a community section with displays explaining the historical origins of the area, a coloring wall, an interactive Just Serve org screen to locate local community service opportunities, a 3D scale model of the temple, and a display. Other areas include teaching rooms with videos and individual reflection pods. In addition, there is also a family research area with computer workstations and helpers where guests can work at their own pace researching, adding to their family history, and connecting their family tree. The Visitors Center also houses a replica of a statue of Jesus Christ by Danish artist Bertel Thorvaldsen called the Christus. The Visitors Centers and grounds are staffed by church missionaries, and the public is welcome to walk on the temple grounds and enjoy the gardens. Christmas lights and pageant. Since 1938, there is an annual Christmas lights display with a nativity scene during Christmas season, attracting more than 500,000 guests every year. Began in 1938, the temple hosts the Mesa Arizona Easter pageant, entitled Jesus the Christ, between late March and early April, which attracts more than 75,000 people annually and is the largest annual outdoor Easter pageant in the world. Presidents. Notable presidents of the temple include David K. Udall 1927-34, Junius E. Driggs 1975-80, and L. Kenyon Udall 1997-2000. The current president is Kenneth M. Smith 2017.